This is the PHEP discussion. It's on the agenda. One of the players today, I guess.
Hi. So where Blaine is he out there? Yeah.
Morning, have a seat.
Sit down. Is the attorney coming in?
That's why I went out there first and I got Sarah.
We got half of them. That's good. Okay, this one. Just so you know. And I watched them run it. Well, I thought I watched them run it last time. She went in the other room.
Well, I don't think that we need the reservations for it this time, though.
Yeah.
Are we waiting?
Okay, so we're talking about, is there or is there not a budget deficit for the PHEP money?
Which, it's complicated. Okay, so the budget that we have, there is a deficit if you just go by the budget. The budget that was set in July because of the fact that we were only budgeting for half a year.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if you look at the budget, there's a deficit. But if you look at what monies have come in, if you look at the actual grant, what the monies that have come in and what will come in as long as all the deliverables are met. That has to be done. They have to be met in order for the rest of it to come in.
It's in the contract that they do it, so, yeah. So
Right.
it'll be paid out till it's done.
Seeing
Yeah.
that's the whole.
Except for you're already paying, but you're paying out no matter what, the same amount every single month. So, I mean, he's always getting, you know, the contract states that that he's getting that.
But didn't we all, when this first started too, didn't we all agree on this that if it didn't pay for itself, they weren't going to?
But
I can go
honestly,
back.
you aren't gonna know that until
Yeah.
the fiscal
Okay,
year,
I just want
whether
that noted,
he's,
though,
yeah,
that I just
because
don't
as
wanna
long
be-
as, right, if he
taken
doesn't
out.
meet the deliverables, you aren't gonna have the money. But the way that if I work it out two different ways, just looking strictly at what is in the grant and what is to come in, and, you know, adding in that 35 that was,
You're making assumptions, like you do on all budgeting.
right,
You're assuming that he's gonna meet these deliverables.
right.
okay? And we have a contract, if he doesn't, he's violation of the contract.
So what I'm saying is that you can't really look, you gotta look forward at that for what you've done for this next
Correct.
half of the year, we can't look at the actual budget
Right.
because the one that was set, because that was only for half a year, and yeah, it is gonna be way over. But if you look at, you know, because we weren't expecting the other deliverables to be done, you know, it wasn't expected that that was gonna be coming in, so that wasn't budgeted
I understand
for.
that, I just don't want to be having to
Right.
borrow money to keep, you know.
Right, so just looking strictly at the cash, which you don't ever wanna do, but if you,
Cash.
from what I, you know, understand, you don't ever wanna do that, you wanna look at the budget, spend the
Right,
budget.
right.
So we could do
So-
a resolution at the end of the
You should-
victory, yeah. so
You
there's
actually
paper.
should be okay, as long as it's as long as the deliverables are met, and that money does come in, and, it should be okay that you won't, that there won't be any cash.
Okay, so.
And that contract's 1 year too.
Right.
So
It-
1
well,
year,
it-
is it 6 months?
Well, I mean, it ends, it's through the end of the fiscal
Fiscal
year.
year,
The-
okay.
It's a yearly contract, but he's only got 6 months.
6
because
months,
we changed-
correct.
yeah. So, you need to know something. I've been here 4 years is all, but this commission is, we will never leave you, without being able to go in and sweep some cash, and then we'll go and force the contract on him, okay? But we're not gonna do that to you, we just won't do that.
Right.
We're gonna sweep some cash, pay him off, and pay off the wheel, and then we're gonna force the
Right,
contract.
what I'm saying is I don't think you're gonna have to do
And
that.
I don't think we should, I agree with Commissioner Adler, I
Right.
don't want to borrow money now.
Right, you
until
would
we-
if the cash were the same amount that, because of the budget. The budget's gonna be way over, but that's strictly on paper.
Okay.
But if you look
So you
strictly
need
at
to
the
keep
cash.
us on the budget, if you see him starting, kinda like the
The
county
only way
health
I'm gonna-
nurse, if you start seeing, remember that
Well, she
issue?
never sees it.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, yeah, he's
that's-
gotta come in and report to you what you did, he did.
Well,
did
we
this,
sign the
yeah.
claims, and she's
Yeah.
pretty smart, she'll see it.
Right, so, yeah, it's just, it's the deliverables and the reports being made, so then the money comes in. And honestly, you won't know if that last one is done, because that money doesn't come in until like August.
Right.
If you look at the money coming in.
But he does have, he has communications with the state, so that they'll tell him, yeah, we're gonna redo your, you know what I mean? They'll know from the feds a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know anything
Well,
about
we'll make
that
sure,
part,
yeah,
so-
but we'll make sure he communicates with you, you know,
Yeah.
just met with him,
so,
it looks like I'm gonna get my money, or if there's a problem, then they
Right.
better come and see us.
So, yeah, so that's the only issue. If deliverables are all met, there's not going to be an issue with the cash.
Well, we don't need to take action at all, do we?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Like I said, as long as the deliverables are met, and you just can't be, this is the one time that you can't be looking at the budget, because the budget was only done for half a year.
Well, is that because we changed in the middle of the course?
Because you weren't sure whether you were gonna be doing it or not. You
Right.
thought that you were just gonna be doing it for the 6 months and it was gonna
That's what we thought.
Right.
We might be
So.
able to say there.
be, right,
Okay,
okay,
well, thanks for your help,
alrighty,
appreciate it,
okay.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mhm.
So, the action we're gonna take is no action, I guess. Any, Chuck? Oh, these folks are running late here. This is the time set for Resolution 2019-12, Granite County Resolution, revising its established good neighbor policy. This is the first revision, second reading, and we make a decision on our changes today.
Didn't get changed that you wanted, Chuck.
No, no, did it?
Simon.
I think so, I was reading it here.
I thought they did, but I didn't.
Is that
know
a
they should.
copy of what
Oh,
they're
yeah,
talking about now?
you got it over here. Oh, I do the same. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, I just read it.
It's right back here, it's in like
It's a short-
halfway through.
it's a short
That's
page.
what
Here it is.
Two pages.
There it is, it's a short page.
Right.
Good, thank you. Yeah, just for. That's it. There you go. I thought Commissioner Hinkle's changes On the back where undue hardship is defined, redefined. And then I think, yeah, those are.
Wasn't there something supposed to be in there, Chuck, that you wanted to make sure that they come in, so,
The agreements would be year to year if you did have an agreement.
Right, and then long-term hardships being the same or similar hardships arising and extending from year to year with the same person or entity are expressly excluded from the definition. That was another change of Chuck's.
And really, if someone keeps having the same occurrence, it's not really, I don't think, an undue hardship even.
Well,
It goes beyond, yeah.
you know, I got to thinking about what Chuck said. Let me give you an example. We had a contractor that plows roads and sands roads. In the middle of the winter, worst time, he runs out of sand. So he calls us and says, "Can I get some sand?" And we decided, yeah, sure you can, but you're gonna pay us back, right? So the next year, he's like, "Well, can I get some sand?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Well, I got it from you last year." See, that's not, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
okay.
the intent of the good
You know,
neighbor
his
policy.
failure to plan is not an emergency on our part, okay?
Not an undue
So,
hardship.
they said, yeah, but this is it, and you're gonna pay for it, and he did. So, I mean, but that to me was an example of, you know, what you're gonna get at, so.
And also like my road, you know, taking the car off every year. I mean, if I had to do it every year, I'd better solve that problem,
Right,
you know.
or come and
And
pick
not,
up.
yeah, not come
Yeah,
back to you guys.
Good point. Okay. And
That's wrong.
that's exactly what the intent of it was, and this language.
I think it makes it a better, resolution, absolutely. Okay. So, Chuck, and if you're okay with the, changes, you wanna make a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
I have a question.
Hang on, I'll give you a chance. I always do. Go ahead.
To accept our good neighbor policy, revised good neighbor policy.
Resolution.
Resolution to 2019-12.
Is there a second?
second.
There's a motion, a second to accept 2019-12. Is there any further comment? Is there any public comment on 2019-12?
To come out, I have a comment on that. You referred to MCA section 714-2101. When I looked at section 714-2101, it refers to county roads and county roads, bridges, and intercooperative roads with a different county. I didn't see anything in there that authorized the county transportation department to use their equipment to plow any personal property at all. So I don't know where you get the authorization to even have a good neighbor policy.
I don't know about that, Dick, but
Council?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chuck.
No, I agree that we need something in case there's an emergency. So this is what I wanted. But, you know, if it came to a long-term thing, as we were just talking about.
Well, when you say an emergency, what are you referring to?
Well, I'm saying anything you have to call first responders for, obviously, is an emergency. You know, if it's gonna be a long-term thing, then they have to come in and talk to us. And, you know, I don't consider it something that happens year after year after year as an emergency, just
Well,
because it happens.
If it's gonna be an emergency, you're supposed to call an emergency meeting and discuss the thing. And
We
so-
don't have time.
Huh?
Somebody's having a heart attack out there. We just gotta be able to go.
And that's the authority, I think, well, I know it is, it's the broad health and safety powers they have. The issue is you don't wanna treat someone in a like situation differently for, you know, just arbitrarily. There has to be a reason why you're treating them differently, and that's what this is trying to spell out. If someone's actually having an emergency and there's no private contractor that can help them out and need it done.
Well, yeah, there could be other emergencies. I think we
Yeah.
kinda left it in here, you know, it's kinda a gray area that Paul can make it, but he's gotta come to us and explain it. If if he sends it to emergency, I went and did this, then he's gotta come in here.
Well, he's supposed to call you beforehand and then afterwards report it as
Like
well,
this
so.
weekend, you know, save the
Yeah.
judge, at least let you know what, it was emergency, get a dump truck, and we hired a private contractor, because
But remember, we talked about that he would notify you ahead of time and it requires the compliance, yeah.
So one of the things to your question or your issue is that, you know, we only meet once a week. And
Pardon me?
we only meet once a week. We're a very rural county, so we're gonna give the authority to Paul. And like Commissioner Hinkle just said, we damn well expect him to report what he did, and he always has been good about that. In addition, what he also does, and I appreciate it, is he'll call a commissioner or a couple of commissioners and say, all right, I'm here at such and such a road, and they can't get to their cows, and, you know, we got a problem, and, I'm gonna go plow that, you know, and then it defers on to us, and we say, yeah, we think we should do that. So, but then at the end, like that next week, he reports to all the commissioners what he did and why he did it. So part of this is just because we're rural and we only meet once a week.
Well, I just don't see where you're authorized to do that.
Well, I think
It doesn't say anything about
I
that
think the attorney
in
just
2101.
explained it to you. We have broad powers for health and emergency services to the county. Health, welfare, and safety of the public. You know, that's, we have broad powers to do
If
that.
it's that, then it should be a service that's available to everybody.
It is.
And
It
how
absolutely
is it that, it's not very clear on how you get
They
established
used
that.
this service 2 years ago. The contractor you had that plows your lane got stuck in your lane. You guys were stuck in for a couple of days, I guess. So what happened was is that the county went up there, pulled your contractor out and plowed your lane so that the contractor could go back and plow it the following days. Everybody gets an
Oh, my
opportunity.
lane out?
Yes.
When was that?
About 2 years ago. That's, the contractor was stuck right in your lane.
Boy, I guess I missed that.
That's a new
Yeah,
one.
no, we did, and I mean, and it's available to everybody to answer your question.
Well,
I wanna make this more public too, because like when I broke my ankle, I didn't know about it. And so my neighbor Tim Elmo, I'm laying on the floor, my foot up, and Heidi's going crazy, and Tim, he calls around, he gets Willis to come down and plow our road, because of the blizzard. And, you know, and the county, he called the county to plow county road, we didn't know the county plowed.
So, yeah, you said more advertising in the newspaper.
Yeah, that'd be good, that'd be good.
well, who is it that pays the insurance then? Is that, say that somebody goes in there and, they plow the road and, but they don't take the person out of there or whatever it is, and, they damage some part of the road, does the insurance cover this or not?
It does, we are insured, our equipment are insured, our employees are insured. Is it a little more risk? Probably, but that's.
Well,
There is
didn't
exposure.
you go
There's no
over,
question.
did
It's a
that
little
go
more
over
risky.
in the, I think it was last week or before, you discussed that with Mako and what the insurance was? And you're certain that this is covered in that Mako insurance
Yes,
policy?
yeah, I've talked to the insurance company. It is, yeah. And it's similar to, well, a part of this Good Neighbor policy is ambulances at sporting events and so forth. So to a certain extent, county resources are used to help
As
the
long as
public.
it's in the
That's good.
county.
Yeah, I mean, you might take an injured football player from in the county out.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then this policy is gonna apply strictly to emergencies, or is it gonna apply to any, let's just say a rancher has problems getting into his field, is that?
So that would be the undue hardship.
Hardship.
And so this is saying, amending it to say long-term hardships, you have, keep having year to year. The commissioner is gonna have it on their agenda and review that and have an agreement with them. So it's trying to take into consideration all the different scenarios.
This happened year after year after year, I mean, figure it out for yourself.
I agree with you.
So then the people have to apply to the county commissioners sometime during the year in order to
No,
become a good
Let's say,
neighbor, or how does that
Let's
work?
say somebody's got a lane and the guy plows the road and he has a heart attack, hardship to me.
It's a call to the road
Yeah,
superintendent.
If they came in here and said, well, I can't get somebody to do this, and, you know, you're going by, could you please get my driver? For a
So
year.
that's a pretty subjective judgment that's made at that particular point in time.
It is.
If it's something that's gonna be handled by the county on an ongoing basis, then you should have some kind of procedure where people can file to become a good neighbor and be a contingency provider.
Or they'd have to come and get on their agenda.
Huh?
The amendment to the resolution talks about they come and get on their agenda and talk with the commission about it.
Okay, well, if it's subjective, then if I call you up and ask you to plow my road every year so that I can get out of there, is that?
They're gonna say, come get on our agenda and we'll talk to you
We'll
about it.
talk to you
You're
about
not
it.
gonna get it
Yeah.
every year.
No.
Okay.
So it's still kind of unclear how you define somebody as a good
Well,
neighbor.
I'll admit it's subjective,
Huh?
but it is, but that's what we do, is we're that mediator in the government where you can't write policy for every little thing, so we're gonna give some of that responsibility to our county road supervisor, and we're taking the rest.
Well,
We'll take the hit if you think we're making bad decisions, then come in and talk to us, but, I don't think this year anyway, and it's probably used as much this year as any time because of bad weather, they made bad decisions. But you
Well,
can sure come in and talk to us about it, you'll hear the testimony.
Elena has a comment.
Lane, I'm sorry.
That's all right, thank you.
I wasn't
Ah.
finished.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to get mine, and if you don't mind. Okay, it's confusing to me because an emergency is an emergency. Okay, if I have an emergency, I call 911. And then if the ambulance can't come down my road, then they should contact somebody to get that road. That's an emergency.
That's how that works, you bet.
Okay, so,
We had a couple of them there back, I didn't cut anything, but we did have a couple of them that called 911 and then we went out. Mr. Graybill was one of them.
okay, so then it's not really emergencies in this situation. That's already a given. And as far as assistance to the town governments, I thought there'd be a interlocal agreement.
There is,
So then that shouldn't be, so then why is this in here? I don't understand the,
because the county road supervisor under an emergency or a real hardship will make that decision, okay? And he actually, where it's covered, it's overlapping, we have an interlocal and we have this. And as far as the city's concerned, that's probably an overlapping policy, but that's
oh,
why it's
okay.
in there.
Because I didn't know, is there a resolution regarding the interlocal agreement between Drummond and
Yeah, we have
Phillipsburg?
yes, we have interlocal agreements with Phillipsburg, Drummond, several
Yeah.
other entities, but yeah.
well, I mean, like the fire service area has an
service,
agreement with
yeah.
the fire department here, but as far as the county is with the towns of Drummond and Phillipsburg.
So as far as plowing is concerned and doing things like that?
Just a
Correct.
thing,
Yeah.
Everything. So, it's nice to have an overlapping interlocal agreement and a policy, and here's why. It mitigates some of the risk, okay? If one of our guys gets hurt helping the city of Drummond, for example, we can go to them and say, hey, help us out here, we got an interlocal, and maybe
Yeah.
your insurance will be involved as well.
The agreement talks about that.
It does.
If it's a Drummond project, their
Yeah.
insurance will cover it.
Right.
Town of Phillipsburg project,
So I
their
think it's
insurance
healthy.
too.
I don't know, I think you're gonna be asking for more problems with something like this. And I really
Well,
do,
It's been in
for the
effect,
record.
it's been in effect for a couple of years now, and it's working fine.
And that's why you've been-
Commissioner Hinkle made it better, I think, and we'll move ahead with maybe changes next year, I don't know.
You know,
We'll see.
because I gave that example last time for the record. The Johnsons, I mean, the road was horrible. She tried to get in touch with Paul out. He never returned the calls. We had to find somebody who had a plow and pay him for it. So it didn't work in that respect. It's almost like it depends on who you are to get on the good neighbors
That's
list.
not the way it's gonna be.
That's why I
Well,
want.
how do we,
Come in
how do
here,
we check
especially if
that?
It's gonna be a long-term thing, or, come in here and talk to us, and
Potentially call that commissioner in your area, right? Would that
Sure.
be the next step?
Yeah, I would
If,
call me or call one of the two commissioners. Absolutely.
Are you gonna put a provision in your budget for, additional costs to do this bond?
No,
So,
So it's volunteer?
It was, well, you already, you budgeted, you took into consideration what your budget was the
but he
previous
wanted,
year. and-
yeah, but he wasn't gonna do an additional, we're not
Well,
necessarily.
you could,
don't have
you
additional.
could, I don't think you could put it in the budget, you don't know.
You don't know, some years you have
Just have
bad
to look
years,
at years.
some years we never use it.
We don't know what the weather's gonna do.
I didn't know I was gonna break.
well, in terms of these interlocal agreements, then, I was talking earlier about the designating the roads as being a county road, Forest Service road, and a local city or town road. So are you gonna change all those agreements to be consistent with the planning board's classification of those roads, and what, who's gonna budget for it? Is it,
I'll have to figure out what they were doing, but I think it was maybe just Linda researching whether a road was county road or not, but I can find out what they were doing.
Pardon
It
me?
was, it was likely just that Linda Bach was researching whether a road was a county road or not, and then reporting to the planning board. But, I
Did we
can
vote
find,
on this, Mark?
No, we're waiting on.
Okay, so you guys are getting off subject, so I'm gonna call for
No,
the vote.
I'm not getting
I'm gonna-
off the
I'm gonna call
subject. The
for
thing
vote.
says county
I'm gonna
roads,
call for
bridges,
the vote,
and
all in favor
interlocal
say
agreements.
aye.
So are you gonna have a
The,
county
excuse me,
thing
you
that,
interrupted me.
I was still talking,
No,
you
when you're done,
interrupted me.
I tell you when you're done, and you're done for right now.
Uh,
So, we've all, agreed, Mike, and the motion carries.
For the record, Mr. Slaughter denied me public comment
Yeah, I
on
did.
the issue.
No, I'll give you public comment, but I cut you off, and I can do that.
Well,
So,
But
I'll
this,
say you
this is
can-
better than it was, and
Huh?
we had a big, long fight over this, and this is the way it came out. I'm satisfied.
Fight? No,
It
it
was
was
a
a
fight.
discussion.
Yeah, it was.
It was a discussion.
professional,
Yeah, exactly.
Disagreement.
A spirited discussion.
we got another 10 minutes to cover.
You know, Dick, if you wanna come in at 2, we can discuss anything you want to. And I think the
It's
county
like
attorney
talking to the
said,
wall, coming in here and discussing it.
we see it too. We sit here at 2 and nobody ever comes in.
Yeah. But you don't
I
give
think
proper
we're moving
public
today.
notice. Thank you.
Well, I'll be back at 2.
Okay,
I may not be leaving now, but I'll be back at 2.
okay.
Because I think your public comment should be in the morning, the first thing, too.
We'll
Or
hear
right
that.
after, so this way people can say what they have to say without having to come back later
Like a
and,
half hour in the morning, a half hour in the
yeah, just do it. Oh, even that one's a better one.
it is a good idea.
Yeah, we'll hear what you think, absolutely.
So I'll repeat it at 2 o'clock.
Okay. I won't be here. But now
Well,
that you told
see?
me, I kind of agree with you.
I have-
I think that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
that's nothing wrong with that. I didn't vote for Chuck.
Spirited discussion, Jim. Win the fight. Hey, you ain't seen a fight yet. He hasn't seen a fight yet.
I know, you haven't seen it.
Blue Matthew.
As long as we got time, could I excuse myself for the rest of the day, please?
We have to have a motion, please,
Can I make a motion?
and then public discussion.
So, how would you feel on CKST
I was
resolution?
really happy with that letter for that. I thought.
Resolution, I thought he did a great job on it too.
I'll be not sure, I have child protective team.
I think it's a really good deal to step it up now before they get to,
So you wanna give Chuck your proxy?
on the Salish Kootenai.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was awesome that he brought it ahead and we're moving on it. And I like the letter.
Okay. And then the last thing is DOWL's engineering or revised
You know how I
proposal.
feel about them.
That's why I wanna know how you feel. What-
I think they're soaking us still. I think they dropped some, but yet then they have excuses, but they got us bent over the barrel on that damn FERC.
So you're gonna vote for it?
I don't think we have much choice. I think
I
they got us.
think you're right, but that's up to you.
Take
You
it
wanna give
under
Chuck your,
what?
wanna give Chuck your proxy on that too?
Yeah, I don't think we have much choice. choice.
Did you give me the proxy on both of them?
Yeah, okay. Get the hell out of here. We don't need you.
We'll miss you a lot.
Yeah, you wanna just go down and leave your card and,
After today, I won't have no money, so that's-
well, good
You're
luck.
not seeing the judge, are you?
Bring us a picture of your new record.
Yeah, shoot us one on the
They're
phone.
probably upside down over a butte with a foot of snow.
Oh, boy.
He's having trouble getting up over the pass, he said,
Wall, yeah.
Uh-oh.
coming out of Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
I'll drive safe.
Oh, that'd be Benida, that'd be through
Not-
Dillon,
not-
yeah. Yikes. Well,
Good job, you guys.
well, thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, good luck.
I got child protective team meetings this afternoon.
Plus, it's my wife's birthday.
Yeah, if you need
Oh.
Take care of her.
Oh,
Good job
how's
on the
Maybelline?
resolution.
Good.
I
We
live
put her
out-
on a diet because she started to get chubbied up. But now she's
Yeah, I do
We
that.
seen her last night. She gets really pissy if you don't cuddle.
Oh,
So she
yeah.
climbs up on me and then she
So if he's,
well, that
if
hair
he's leaving
poke.
and Chuck
It
has
is.
his proxy, can he
God,
still
she's something when
Hey,
I'm
wait a
They're
minute.
great, they really are. Oh, they are. They're
Scott,
better
do
than
you wanna
dogs.
sign
Hey,
that?
Scott, you wanna sign that?
Before you leave?
Yeah,
It's, yeah.
we're just making it official here.
That's,